morning, Grace Point family. A few weeks ago, Debbie and I were driving through Oklahoma, and as we were going along the highway, we saw this little tortoise trying to cross the highway. And I just looked at it and thought, well, there goes another tortoise. And Debbie, being the nurturer that she is, insisted that we stop and pick this little creature up and care for it and make sure it didn't get crushed. And so now we have a tortoise at home, added to our growing zoo of creatures at home. But, from the point of view of that tortoise, his life was dramatically changed. He was ripped from the plans. He had this dream to cross the road, to cross the highway, and he never fulfilled that dream. Rather, he was ripped from his life, and his life was ripped apart. From our perspective, we see things totally different. Obviously, we see the scene unfolding differently for this poor little creature. And as I think about it, I realize, so often we are like that tortoise. God sees what we're doing. God sees the plans that we have. And sometimes he has to block those plans. And seldom we appreciate what God is doing and understanding what God is doing in our lives. From our perspective, the rescue is sometimes traumatic, sometimes painful. And the plans we are pursuing are suddenly blocked. Sometimes the Lord uses hardship or tragedy to change the plans that we have and to change the course of our lives. And we don't like it. We cry out and say, "Why, God, are you doing this to me?" And we don't understand. And sometimes God doesn't answer and he is silent. And that's when we have a choice to make. We have the choice to trust him, the choice to walk by faith. Do I trust God in the midst of pain and turmoil when I don't understand why he hasn't allowed me to pursue what I was doing? Solomon, writing in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6, says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." When life doesn't make any sense, it's because we don't understand the circumstances. We don't understand things from God's perspective. Solomon tells us, don't lean on our own understanding, because we don't understand the full picture the way God does. We don't see things from God's perspective and his plans and his purposes for our lives. That's why we must simply trust God. We have to trust God. Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith it's impossible to please God. Are we willing to trust him and have faith? So what is God taking you through today that's causing you to question why, to ask and to cry out, why are my plans being changed, or why is this not being allowed to happen in my life? Will you trust him with the path that he has for you? This Sunday coming, we are going to continue our series on Why Church, and I invite you to join us. We're going to be celebrating the Lord's Supper together. And I invite you to come and be prepared to worship together. And we're going to look at the important leadership structure of elders in the church. Why the church has elders. Now, we read about this in 1 Timothy chapter 3 and Titus chapter 1. And so I'd like to bring some clarification and understanding to that from the Word of God. So I invite you to join us Sunday morning at 10:30 or at 8:30 for the early service. God bless you. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.